principals are saying is that government doesn't consult us. Yes, we invited government. No consultation. Yes, we invited government even to those meetings like the ones we have had in Mombasa this week. But you see, even when they come to those meetings, they come to read to us the Riot Act. You will do this. This is the amount of money you should charge. This is the amount of fees you should charge. We are just shepherded. You know, we are just told, as teachers, we're just told do this. And not because we can't really question. You know, we are employees, we are civil servants of the government. We can't question. The truth of the matter, the consultation levels with unions, with teachers, is very minimal. And that's why you have seen a lot of war in unions like NAT. When you see a strong leader in a union like NAT, like let's say Wilson Sossion, he had to be fought very hard because he was too open, too you know, they saw him as too militant, too demanding. So there is little consultation that goes on.
So if you are to give your you know, insight on the way forward, on how do we achieve education that is bringing equality, education that considers quality also, education that will ensure that a child in the remotest part of this country has a competitive advantage similar to that who is maybe in most of these urban centers. How do we get to that particular equal playing ground when it comes to education?
Actually, that is now what we call, and that's what some of the United Nations called SGD4. You know, it is something that is being looked for globally to achieve equality in education. It's a very big concern globally. But I want to tell you, as a country, we as Kenya, the results are just about to announce. You will see the best performing schools may come from a certain area. You may also discover the students who may not perform very well will come from a certain area. I have been in the world of advocacy for education. I went to Wajir, I went to Mandera, I went to the northern part of this country. One time, there were classrooms and the Form 4s were sitting this exam. They were doing without teachers. Teachers ran away after the, you know, the terror attacks.
Because of
because of the security issues. And it took so long for the government to do anything to return teachers back there. You know, those kind of concerns mean equality in education has become a very big problem. It's a big concern, not just in Kenya, it's a concern globally. And the best we can say here is, it all starts again with the leadership and the consultation between teachers and experts and government machinery.
In the education sector. Yeah. So the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations results are just to be, you know, they are going to be released any minute from now. Perhaps it would also be prudent to ask you, what are some of your expectations?
Yes. One, I want to tell even our listeners that I don't think the minister will announce schools, the top schools, like, you know, it used to be those days, because they're trying to remove that competitive edge between schools. You know, there was that bottleneck kind of competition between schools. But at the end of the day, media houses like this one, analysts like us, we shall sit down and look up the mean scores of this each and every school, and by tomorrow evening or even by tomorrow morning, you will see in the media houses like this one, they will already be telling us which schools have performed very well. Yes, we are going to see the results. They will tell us that some students have done very well, some schools have passed. But one thing they may not tell you, and you'll have to find out for yourself, my dear listeners, is there are very many students who will not perform very well. And the reasons why they're not performing well, some of them are to do with the management of schools and education sector. Actually, going by last year's exams, more than 30% of the people who sat exam last year, there were around 700,000 students. Almost 150,000 candidates in last year's 2020 KCSE exam got C- and below. C- and below, you cannot qualify for any course. C- below means that's like D, like a D+, and then E. There are places in this country you go to a school and everybody has gotten an E. And I want to tell parents, when you hear your child has gotten an E, what it means is this. This child, even if he or she went and just wrote her name, that's the last grade you can get. You will get an E, just writing your name alone. You don't answer anything. So grade E means that the child, as much as they went through the 4 years in Form 4 or in that secondary school, this child has come out with almost nothing. And that is now where the question is as a country. Why should our students be getting E's at this kind of time? Is it because we are not getting it right? And those are the questions that we must always ask. We invest so much money in education as a country. 44% of our economy, of our GDP, goes to the education. But the dividends, what we reap from education, when you hear that only 200 or 800 students got A, only around 2,000 got B plus and above. So where are the rest? And that's the question that all of us as parents, as the education stakeholders must be asking. And I even challenge media houses. As much as you go to highlight the big schools, and I'm sure you will show us Alliance or Kenya High celebrating. Also
we do not know yet.
Also go to Shamsinjiri Secondary School in my village, go to Humsalaba Primary School and Secondary School, and see that many of us also got E's.
Yeah. I want to take your mind from the E's. I mean, don't we have anything positive to anticipate with this particular exam? See what happened in the KCPE results. There was what even made the headlines, the return of the 400.
Yes.
You know, I mean, there was an improvement from what we from the trend that we have observed over the years. Yeah. Of course, we look at COVID-19 that really hit us hard in 2020. Yeah. Aren't you seeing anything positive about the 2021 KCSE
I see a lot of positivity. Let me say this. The positivity is, first of all, these are all graduates. They are graduating from Form 4. That's congratulations. When I was in the university, there used to be something called there was a first class degree, upper second, lower second, then there was pass. Pass was the lowest, but all of us, it was still called a pass, you know. So all these people are graduating, all our learners. The fact that we have made high school almost compulsory. That means basic education in this country now can be accessed by almost everybody. And the government is meeting most of the costs and is employing teachers to teach. To me, that is a big achievement as a country. Because there are years in this country when to get somebody who reached Form 2 was a very difficult thing. Right now, we have Form 4 graduates. They are going to come out with certificates, whether it is E, whether it's D minus, but all of them are going to get a certificate. Now, the only thing is this. How good is the certificate? How quality is the education that we are receiving? Quantity in education is good, but also we must also think about quality education. And me, for quality education is made up of three things. Quality teachers, well-trained, well-paid. If you're not paying teachers well, forget quality education. Quality tools. Tools, I mean, the chalkboards, the microscopes, the labs, the desks, the buildings. Then quality environment. Quality environment is when you hear that a school, like my daughter is in Alliance Girls. I'm a proud man. My daughter is in Alliance Girls. But she tells me there are 61 in her class. Even according to the United Nations, categories, a class must have around 40 children. So having 61 children in a class like Alliance. So how many do you think are in a class like Shamsinjiri, where I come from? Maybe I'm told, the principal tells me that he has up to 80 children in one class.
So the teacher-learner ratio is still one to one.
It's bad, my sister, dear listeners. And so at the end of the day, as much as I see possibility, I see good the progress, I also see problem in this way. The more we heap all of them in one place and say they are learning, they may not be learning. They may just be there for us to take pictures and enjoy as a country that we are pushing people ahead. But at the end of the day, what are the dividends we are getting from all these children who go to these schools? When all of them get D minus, D plus, and below, then we are not reaping very well from what we are investing.
Of course, there is that push to ensure that each and every person gets access to basic education. No wonder we've had, programs such as that 100% transition program, the free primary education. And this, I would say, is a step in the right direction. But then how do we improve the learning outcomes in as much as we are bringing, children to, how do we improve the learning outcomes?
That is a good thing, that's a good question. First of all, is something like now we are hearing about a new curriculum.
Yes.
The CBC. The CBC coming around is a very important thing. To me, and those of us who have been in the education advocacy sector in this country, we are saying, yes, CBC is great. Actually, it will eliminate some of the things that we are doing even right now. You see what we are seeing, like release of exams, where we're going to see schools being mentioned and maybe teachers being mentioned and maybe some children getting mentioned as having done very well. CBC is eliminating that. CBC comes in and says, we are no longer exam-oriented. our country should not be exam-oriented. Our education sector should not be exam-oriented. It should be the abilities-oriented, the abilities of the child. Not all children are talented to do paperwork, you know, or not all children can do mathematics and chem and biology. Not all children can do all that, but there are children also talented in different areas. Some can do music, some can do, we have seen nowadays, DJs are doing very well, more than even some of us who are employed as teachers. We are seeing footballers, Ronaldo is earning good money, we are seeing athletes, you know. So the new curriculum was part of that good idea. That as a good idea, we don't need to make our education system exam-based. So those are some of the things that we need to improve on. Remove the exams. Too much examining is not good. It makes us zombies, you know, kind of, let me not use that word, it's a bit too harsh. It makes us to be more, yeah, just follow, rigid, that's the word. Rigid. We are in a tight jacket. You must pass the exam. So your parent is always on you. Toto, pita mutiani. Usipopita mutiani, hakuna mahali utaenda maishani. Maisha yako itaisha. So this is a good development in CBC. The only issue about CBC is that maybe the implementation and the way it's being done and the politicization
and
of
how it has been received.
And how it has been received.
Even by the parents.
Yes, because parents are looking at it as if it's also now a burden on them. You know, it's like parents have also been made to go back to class.
Is it?
Yes.
From where you sit, is it a burden to parents?
It is a burden to parents. It's a burden to parents economically, it's a burden to parents. All of us are, we are looking for money out here, but now we have to go out back to our houses to do photocopying for the children, to do homework, to do what? Actually, CBC integrates, it brings in the parent in the learning sector, so that the parent and the child are all together learning together. There's that kind of whatever. So
is that not a good thing?
It's a good thing, but are we yet there as a country? When you go to places like some parts of this country, you have got nomadism, you know. We have parents who don't even stay in their houses. We have parents who are roving around the country, you know, looking for their animals to get water and grass, you know. And so can you go to West Pokot and tell a parent, for example, sit down here and do homework with your child? He is out there in the field, you know, taking care of his animals. So as much as CBC is good, but it's not working, it doesn't bring that equality that we have been talking about a few minutes ago. And it is expensive. That's why publishers right now, I was in Mombasa for the heads meeting. The people who are enjoying in this country and who are living large when we were in Mombasa for the conference that just ended are publishers. The people who are printing these materials for CBC are reaping big. Because when you change a curriculum, there is always a beneficiary, and the beneficiary is the printer, the person printing the books, the materials. And right now I have a list in my house. My child is going to grade 5. The list of books that I have received as a parent for grade 5 are more than fees that I'm going to pay for my child at Alliance Girls. Just the books alone. I'm not talking about anything else, fees. I'm just talking about the books. And all this money must be going somewhere to some publisher. And you see, CBC has come, yes, it's good. But are we ready to receive it as parents? Can we afford it as a country? You saw the budget, how it came out. That budget, as much as when it was read out, it showed that education is going to take a lot of money, especially the CBC implementation. Yet the same budget also, the person who read the budget also went ahead and said, it has a gap. As much as we have budgeted for this, we don't have that money. Meaning, we want to implement a very expensive education curriculum, yet we don't even have the money. We are hoping that some well-wisher will give us the money.
But the train has already left the station. Would we rather go back, or how best can we take advantage of this opportunity that even you yourself is citing is a good and a step in the right direction, that CBC is actually going to sort of neutralize the rigidity of, you know, passing the exam. Whether you've gotten the skills, whether you've acquired whatever it is you've been taken through in your learning journey, doesn't matter. As long as you score the highest grades. I mean, how do we take advantage of the CBC, you know, curriculum without looking at the negativities that are there?
No, you know, everything is about money. I don't think it's just that it's a good thing, we want it. But you have to train the teachers. I am a teacher at a high school level for almost 20 something years. I was in Mombasa with my fellow colleagues who are teachers, and all of them are telling us we are yet to be trained about how we'll receive the ones who are coming into high school, in the end of this year, there's grade 6. CBC is getting into high school, lower secondary school, lower high school. Now, my colleagues in high school are yet to know and to understand what CBC is all about. Can you imagine? We have got 6 months to go into having to receive these guys in our high schools, and we are not yet trained. We don't know what's all about. So I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. The thing is, we were in a hurry. Kwame Nkrumah, the founding president of Ghana, said, sometimes in Africa, we are like people who are late to catch a train. Others left, the train left.
Left the station.
They left the station, as you put it, that the train has left. So all we are doing now, we are running after that train. And they're trying to tell everybody, you see, we also have trains we want to catch. But we are getting it wrong. As long as the train has left, but without the engine is the teacher, the engine is the learners, the parents. Then as much as the train has left, you must ensure that that train has enough fuel to go, which is the economy. You must ensure that the train has got good drivers to drive it, which are the teachers, and that is the issue.
Okay, sorry to cut you short. Remember, you're also following up for you the updates on the plans to inter the third president of the Republic of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, whose death was announced yesterday. Right now, we just want to cross over to Harambee House right here in Nairobi. The Interior Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, is giving an update with regards to that.
The family of the late His Excellency President Mwai Kibaki. We have finalized preliminary plans for the state funeral of His Excellency President Mwai Kibaki, and would like the public to know that this will take place on Friday the 29th of April 2022 at Nyayo National Stadium, and President Kibaki will then be laid to rest in Othaya in Nyeri on Saturday 30th April 2022. Before then, the President's body will lie in state at the National Assembly for 3 days, between Monday and Wednesday this week, for members of the public and the rest of the country's leadership to pay their respects. We will issue a very comprehensive statement and plan tomorrow with details of other activities that will happen between tomorrow and Saturday 30th. But I would like, on behalf of my colleagues in the National Steering Committee who are here, to observe that members of the public need to be informed that for those who are in Nairobi who would like to visit with the family, this will have to happen on Tuesday and Wednesday at President Kibaki's Nyeri office. We are going to provide the details and the map to the office, and this is where any of those, especially members of the diplomatic corps and any senior members of the public who may wish to visit the family or to convey their condolences in person to the family, they would go to the Nyeri office on Tuesday and Wednesday, details of which we will give. We are going to set up a facility at the Othaya CDF office in Nyeri for members of the public, because that office is centrally located in town, and it will afford members of the public and the leaders from that part of our country an opportunity to also visit, sign a condolence book, and pay their respects. But effective Monday afternoon, there will be condolences signing in very many public offices. We are going to put up a condolence book in the two houses of Parliament, Senate and the National Assembly, government ministries, There will be one right here at Harambee House. Members of the diplomatic corps can also visit and sign at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, because there will be a condolence book there. We will also distribute by Tuesday morning condolence books to all our county headquarters for leaders and members of the public across the country to visit and deliver their condolences in writing. We'll also have condolence books in our regional headquarters across the country from Tuesday morning. So on my own behalf, on behalf of my colleagues in the National State Funeral Steering Committee, including the members of the family of His Excellency President Kibaki, who have joined us this morning, once again, we would like to continue to pray for the nation, pray for the country during this difficult time, and pray that the Lord strengthens all of us, and especially the family of our beloved retired President Kibaki during this difficult moment. And finally, reiterate a commitment of the government, as was outlined by His Excellency our President yesterday, that President Kibaki will be given a state send-off with the highest honors because of the distinct service he rendered to our country. That's all for now, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us.
All right, that is the Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, accompanied by members of the National State Funeral Steering Committee. They are just speaking after they've had their first meeting following the death of the country's third president, the late Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki, whose death was announced yesterday. And from what we've gathered is that the late president is going to be laid to rest on 30th of April 2022 at his Othaya home in Nyeri County. But of course, before that happens, his body is going to be laid in state from Monday to Wednesday. The body of the late President Mwai Kibaki is going to lie in state at the National Assembly. This is between Monday to Wednesday. So any member of the public and leaders also will have a chance to view his body. But of course, they say that a comprehensive statement is going to be issued tomorrow on what other activities are going to be undertaken between tomorrow and Saturday before the body of the former president is laid to rest. But in the meantime, those who wish to, pass their messages of condolences in person within Nairobi are advised to visit President Kibaki's Nyeri office. This is on Tuesday and Wednesday this coming week. In case you want to convey your messages in person, you visit his Nyeri office on Tuesday and Wednesday. And of course, other members of the public and leaders will also have a chance to do that via signing a condolence book that is going to be placed at different, locations. First, in Othaya CDF office in Nyeri County, they are going to set up a facility where residents and leaders in that region will visit and, of course, sign a condolence book. And on Monday afternoon, a condolence book, several condolence books will be placed at various government facilities. That is the two houses of Parliament, the National Assembly and the Senate, government ministries, and of course also at Harambee House, so that leaders can also reach out and sign. And of course, it is going to trickle down to the county headquarters on Tuesday morning. Books will be delivered to the different county headquarters also for leaders in the counties and residents of different counties to also sign the condolence books. And of course, also the books will be delivered also to the regional headquarters for signing. That is an update we've just received from the Interior CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, concerning the plans to Barry, the third president of the Republic of Kenya, Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki. As we speak right now, the update is that he's going to be laid to rest on 30th of April, the year 2022. In the meantime, courtesy of the presidential proclamation by President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday, the nation is observing a period of mourning that started yesterday until the day of his burial that now is set for 30th of April. And all flags are now being flown at half-mast at State House and different, designated locations. We'll be giving you details as we continue receiving them in our newsroom here at KBC Channel 1, even as we continue to condole and, just join the entire country in mourning the death of the country's third president. Now, in studio also, some of the issues we are following up for you include the expected release of the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education Examination results that should be happening any minute from now. And we have just been having a conversation ahead of that. We have our team at the Kenya National Examination Council headquarters right here in Nairobi, just following up that for us. Any minute from now, we should also be crossing over to this particular venue. You can see there stakeholders already seated and waiting for the official, commencement of that particular event. These are pictures we are getting from the Kenya National Examination Council headquarters right here in Nairobi. The Education CS Professor George Magoha is going to be officially releasing those particular results for us. But in studio, we are having a conversation around this particular event and how it's going to shape, activities in the next few days and months as candidates, over 800,000 candidates are expected to be taking the next step in their academic life, that is joining colleges, technical institutions and universities. And I've been having a conversation with Peter Amunga. He's an education advocate. Thank you, Peter, for, staying with us. And just to take you back to what we were discussing earlier concerning the examinations, there's been a lot of talk, around the choice of schools. And we saw that when, the candidates of the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Primary Education were being slotted in different secondary schools across the country, parents really insisted they had a preference for certain schools. We had complaints and concerns about, not getting a chance in specific schools, yet their children performed very well. As an educationist, I'd just like to ask you, as we anticipate these results, is the choice of the school, does it have anything to do with how the child is going to perform at the end of the day?
Of course it does. What happens is that all of us will remember when we were in school, one of the biggest important exercises in the life of a candidate is when the teacher comes and says, which school would you like to go after you have standard 7 or standard 8 for that matter? This choice of school that a child goes matters this way. Every school in this country has got a culture. Every high school, I've taught in different high schools. Every school that I've taught in has a different culture. The culture at Kisumu Boys High School is very different from the culture at Kakamega High School. The culture at, say, Mukumu Girls is different from the culture at Kenya High. Sometimes it's to do with religion. Some of our schools are kind of have some bias towards maybe the Catholic Church, or maybe towards the Muslim faith, or maybe towards the Christian faith. Maybe Alliance is the Togoto, So there's that kind of also that culture that came into schools that was brought by the missionaries, when they began the schools. Some of those schools have got a history. Now, I've talked about the culture and tradition of the school. Some of our schools also have got something we call a history. Like, for example, at Maseno School, the people who went to Maseno School will always tell you, the Maseno, those of us who are in Maseno, So
it comes with a bit of pride.
There's some pride that the Maseno, So when you go somewhere, even to a social joint, and you talk, and you are seated with people who learned maybe in that place, they tell you, where did you go to school? You mention a school like Shamsinjiri where I went. They say, what you are not supposed to sit here. Because to them, the name of the school matters. And that thing has gone down to our children, gone down to our parents of today, that our parents believe in some certain names. Precious Blood Riruta, you know, the Loreto Limuru. The reason being, and what CBC...
But is it a right way of thinking?
It's not.
Is it a right way of thinking that the performance of my son or daughter actually depends on the school that they get enrolled at the end
Not
of the day?
at all. Now, as a teacher of many years, I can say this. The problem of parents imagining that your daughter or your child must go, say, to Kisumu Girls, because maybe you went to Kisumu Girls, and so you feel that your daughter must go to a big school like that one. It's a wrong thing. All schools have got the same teachers. We teachers, whether you graduate from Kenyatta University or from Moi University or from Kericho Teachers College, we're always the same. We are trained the same way. The training is the same. In fact, you may discover that some of the best teachers in this country are not at Alliance Girls or Alliance Boys. Some of them may just be in some of these very small schools without names. The parents must reach a place and discover it's not the name of the school. Children pass. And that's why I really like Magoha. Because Magoha has been trying to eliminate that thing.
Thank you. Talking of Magoha, right now we just want to cross over very quickly to the Kenya National Examination Council headquarters. We understand that the event has officially begun. Let's listen in.
Thank you very much. We've made upstanding, and I would like to request that we observe a minute of silence in honor of the departed soul of our third president, His Excellency President Kibaki. 1 minute of silence. Thank you. May his soul rest in peace. Agnes Ngondo for our opening prayer. Thank you.
Let us bow our heads for a word of prayer. Our Father and our God, we humble ourselves in your presence this afternoon. We want to thank you for your care. We thank you for life. We thank you for protection. We thank you for bringing us to an end of this academic year, Jehovah God. We thank you that you have seen us through, even in the midst of our pandemic, Jehovah God. You remained faithful. You took care of us. You took care of our children. And this day, Jehovah God, we can only say you're Ebenezer in our lives. Thank you for our leaders. Thank you for this organization. Thank you even for our stakeholders. Father, we commit this day onto your holy hands, committing all our leaders who